What if the internet suddenly disappeared? Imagine waking up one morning and finding that your Wi-Fi just doesn't exist anymore. Not broken, not down for maintenance, just gone. Every router light across the world quietly blinks off. Every fiber optic cable goes dark. Every satellite loses its handshake. Humanity just lost its most important invention since the printing press. At first, you'd assume it's temporary. People would fiddle with their routers, unplug and replug, call their providers, except, of course, the providers don't exist anymore because their whole infrastructure was built on the internet. By noon, panic sets in. Twitter can't complain that Twitter is down. Google can't tell you why Google doesn't work. All that's left are phone calls, television, and, tragically, fax machines. For many people, it would feel like losing electricity. Even though the lights are still on, the most immediate effect would be silence. No pings, no notifications, no endless scroll. Some people would find this oddly peaceful. Others would break out in a cold sweat, staring at a blank screen that no longer promises entertainment. Offices would grind to a halt. Modern companies don't just use the internet, they are the internet. Banks can't verify transactions. Airplanes can't file flight plans. Container ships get lost mid-voyage because their GPS synchronization servers are offline. Even your smart fridge, the one you bought for $3,000 to post passive-aggressive notes about milk, has become a very dumb fridge. By the end of the first day, the economy would already be in free fall. Stock markets are entirely digital. Without the internet, trading floors would have to go back to paper slips and hand signals, which sounds charming until you realize that the global market moves billions of dollars per second. Suddenly, the world's largest financial system is running at the speed of a middle school bake sale. And then comes the social collapse. Billions of people have grown up in a world where knowledge is always a click away. Without the internet, we don't just lose cat videos. We lose maps. We lose recipes. We lose every Wikipedia page ever written. Students can't Google their homework anymore. Journalists can't fact check. And every argument at a bar remains permanently unresolved because no one can whip out their phone and shout, "See, I told you." Governments would scramble to improvise. Some might try to restore communication by dusting off shortwave radio networks, while others would resort to television broadcasts and emergency phone lines. People under 30 would have to rediscover libraries and would be horrified to learn that books don't come with search bars. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories would spread faster than ever because no one can check them and nobody trusts the official statements. Within a week, the situation gets worse. Hospitals rely on cloud services to track patients. Pharmacies can't verify prescriptions. Shipping companies can't restock supermarkets. The shelves empty, not because food is gone, but because the logistics system is. In a cruel twist, the internet was the invisible scaffolding holding up the modern world, and we never realized how much weight it carried until it vanished. But humans adapt. After a month, we'd start seeing improvised solutions. Local bulletin boards become the new Twitter. Neighborhood runners act as human email servers, delivering physical copies of messages across town. Companies resurrect dial-up style BBS systems, except instead of dialing into a global net, you're just calling a single dusty computer in a basement. It would feel like the 1980s. If the 1980s had been hit with a global financial crisis and mass panic attacks. Still, there'd be a strange silver lining. Without the internet, some people would rediscover boredom, and boredom is the mother of creativity. Kids might learn to play outside again. Adults might read books not because they're nostalgic, but because that's literally all that's left. Society wouldn't collapse completely. We had civilization before the internet, after all, but it would be slower, messier, and filled with people insisting that they used to have 20,000 followers on TikTok. If only they could prove it. And then comes the real twist. Without the internet, rebuilding it would take decades. We can't just flip a switch, because every backbone router and data center is now a very expensive paperweight. To recreate the web, we'd need not only new infrastructure, but also the trust of billions of people who may have already adapted to its absence. Maybe humanity would learn to live without it, or maybe the absence would drive us mad enough to try something bigger, like building a new internet in space, a decentralized network impossible to shut down. In that case, our first internet crash might be remembered not as the end of an era, but as the messy birth of a new one. Until then, though, one thing is certain: if the internet suddenly disappeared, half of us would panic, half of us would shrug, and absolutely everyone would regret never having downloaded that one lasagna recipe when they had the chance.